this country before we let a woman run this country. That's not what I said. I don't run this country. I barely have an ID card. I can barely keep a California ID.
Right.
I'm not the change in America. If Donald Trump's in president, because everybody felt that this man was better than that woman. Or not a big enough percentage felt the other way. So we can look at me crazy, but America, a lot of America agree with me. Like, hey, we'll put a dumb male up there before we let a woman in charge.
I actually prefer Hillary over Donald Trump. Like, I know it's crazy to say, but I mean, the man is the man. You
would you have preferred Bernie over Hillary?
I don't know.
Can I just ask you, Richie? Like, I mean, just on some like pure, if shit broke out in war and somebody had to push that button, you know what I'm saying, that they talk about. Would you rather have a man in control of that button or an angry, upset woman, bro?
Why can't a man be angry and upset too?
Oh, okay, angry,
I mean,
upset,
Donald Trump's already
upset.
talking about pushing the button on Twitter. You see what I'm saying? Like,
he
that's
ain't done
crazy.
This is a man though, right here. We
just
talk a lot of shit. We ain't really gonna do. Hey man, if you don't sit your ass down over here, I'm gonna press these buttons. We know, man. I ain't gonna press
This
button.
man is. This man is.
A woman, Hillary might say it's over. You fucking slag. And really
But
press that
Have
button.
you ever been pulled over by a lady cop compared to a man cop?
I've never been put over by a woman cop.
Nah.
I've been pulled over by a
Have
ton
you?
of males. I've never once been put over by a lady cop.
It seemed like female cops' demeanor just be so extra compared to the dudes. Like, what are you trying to prove to me right now? I know you're a cop. You got a badge and a gun. Go ahead with your business. You don't have to act like a nigga to get my respect.
But don't get me wrong, I understand that though. Certain women do in
But it'd be
a masculine world. When I'm put in that position, I'm going to have to flex that power because of the feminine, because I am the feminine. So that's why I say the difference in gender roles comes in is, like I say, getting back on point with the subject is, we live in a society now where we know women are capable in a working class. We talking about working class. They're very much capable. I think the percentage even says that they are working and earning more money than males in the United States, period. They're about 9%. Women are actually making more money, working harder than the average males today. But also in that, there hasn't been the changeover to where, like I said, men have been operating the way we've been operating because the roles was reversed. Even, like you said, our egos, we're better than y'all. So y'all have to sit at home. Y'all have to sew. We have to feed y'all. Y'all can't work. And we know now that's not easy work. But it's like, at the same time, you guys can do more than that. You can do everything I can do better than me. You mature faster than me. You're better than me. Is there any way we can reverse these roles now?
But what you don't do is rationalize better than men. That's what you don't do.
I will actually, unfortunately, agree to that.
Thank you.
What is that,
Thank
Mayasha?
you.
Say
I
again?
will agree to that because our rationalization comes from.
Are you speaking
Emotion.
for all women?
I will speak in general.
Okay.
Okay. We think of other factors than what men think about. We think of people's emotions. We think about feelings. We think about consequences. Men are like A plus B equals C. Women are like A plus B. Well, there's, times 2. Maybe there's a square power. You start thinking about all these extras.
You heard it from the source's mouth, man.
I agree.
She hated to agree with it, but
I
mean,
do.
that's
I'll stand
true.
by it.
I'm glad you
But
can say
this
that.
could be because how
That's
you were
cool.
raised. You watched a mother that actually allowed her man to lead. So like you said, like probably as far as the mental you seen with your mom, I'm not gonna lie. For me personally, like and in my relationships, I've never been like the primary. I'm too rock star. Like I spend all my money on weed and rock star shit, and then I take care of my kids and shit like that. I've been very
And play
blessed.
PlayStation. Don't forget that one.
I've been blessed to get PlayStations and shit.
Right.
Like I've been a grown ass kid my whole life. I've been able to beat this case. But I know, like the women in my life, I know what they appreciate about me. And it has nothing to do with my financial at all. It's the mental. It's what they know you can give me mentally that I seem to struggle with on my own. I can say my mother, and I'm coming from a single parent household. My mother was raised 3 kids on her own, was very successful at doing so, did a lot of accomplishments, did a lot of great things. I can say there's certain things we missed out on because this father presence wasn't here. Certain things we had to learn later in life. And then I see I was like, you did the good job of taking care of us, but there's probably a lot more lessons. Like you said, I sit down with my daughter and had this talk about how she's going to act. This talk may not happen the way it should without Pops here. It may happen, but it may not be in the depth of how it's going to have to happen to make sure I don't get the result I don't want. So I'm watching, and we watch a class of people raised by women, and we now see the aftermath. This is the new generation. We're looking at the new generation. It is the LGBT community. It is the anything goes community. It is the Zans, pills, weed. I'm part of. Don't get me wrong though. I dabble. You feel me? I'm not trying to act like I'm bigger than anybody.
Right.
I'm just saying this is this is really a generation that was raised by
A lot of
by women,
Yeah.
primary women.
Yeah.
So when they're saying this generation's crazy, you can't blame. We can blame the dads for not being there. I think that's what we do. Well, the father should have been there, but then again, we got to pose the question: why should the father have been there? Because it's something he brings there, gender role specific, that I believe a woman.
So
cannot.
what happens when you remove the mother and the father is there? What are the kids lacking anything then?
I believe it's feminine and positive energy. Feminine and masculine energy. I believe you have both of these, and I believe if a male raises that child, she will lack in or even he will lack in the feminine energy you're supposed to get, which teaches you to be the latter, to be soft, to be nurturing, to be all these things.
Okay.
You'll lack there. But like I said, I think you'd rather your daughter say, I was raised with daddy's military thinking, than maybe mom's loving this. Because at the end of the day, if war breaks out here, I know my daughter going to survive with daddy's thinking, with daddy's thought process, with the
So
way.
you need both.
You do need both.
Yeah.
I think preferably you always want both.
Yeah.
You always want both. But
Yeah.
I feel like we live in a society where I feel like it's lost in translation. We name a couple that, to be honest, that's an easy one. Barack and Michelle, that was America's couple. It's like easy to see. That's how it should look. It's not too many couples we can name within there, even make sense within that. I mean, somebody's doing their hey, that's our janitor lady, man. She's real cool. She come through here and jump out the trash can.
They
about
look
7,
looking
8
at
a.m.
us. I'm like, hey, you know.
Hey, y'all bitches keep cleaning out there. All right?
That nigga, dang, two girls.
See, now.
He got it on
Them jokes.
He said, these is just jokes, John.
But I'm just saying,
We gotta
though,
start
they
bringing the
really-
jokes. We've been a little
jokes.
serious up in here and shit. I just let y'all have it though. But y'all been saying some real good shit though. I'm liking all the conversation. I'm like,
Oh, these really jokes.
I'm loving what y'all putting down. So I'm picking some of it up.
Yeah, but I mean, so what's up? Do y'all think that the role of the father has been kind of downplayed? You know what I mean?
I could say in recent years, to be honest, I see it on an uprise. That I think this is the trade-off. For my generation, I'm an 80s baby and shit like that. But
Yeah,
for my
same.
generation, we came up in this Section 80 era. You feel me? Our parents their generation was on drugs
Right.
or figuring it out after the riots and shit like that. So a lot of us came out without a father that I think in retrospect, we came up with the opposite attitude. Like sometimes it's skip a generation. Like we didn't have fathers. I see a lot of the males today actually want to be in their father's life. Don't get me wrong. You know what and this isn't me even trying to be biased. What I see a lot of is like, it's very hard for the men to be there for their kids a lot of times. I've been blessed to be different. I'm very much different with both my baby mothers. They show me the best love. They support me. They allow me to always be with my kids and be there. I don't have to deal with none of the regular shit I hear about in terms.
Yeah, you.
But
lucky.
in regular,
You
you're
lucky,
hearing
bro.
a lot of people that's like Mayasha, this is actually what you do. You do family law. Like, you're in the business of fighting for people's kids and stuff. Like, what kind of stuff do you see when it comes, as far as you see gender role specific, like when it comes to these people fighting for their kids? Does it seem like the kids at the base are the most important of this?
Well, I deal with the worst of the worst. I don't deal with like people that are happy and understanding. I deal with
Right.
crazies. No, they usually use I wouldn't say they. There's always one party that is attempting to use the child as a pawn. And then I usually represent men. About 90% of my cases, I represent the man. And the man is just like, he wants to see his kid. But the mom's like, well, you don't pay child support. At what point does money come into effect of raising this child?
Dog, it's you.
Man.
Because I be
Y'all
broke as
hearing
a
it from a
motherfucker,
lawyer.
but
Y'all hearing it.
I got $1 million mindset, you know what I mean? So I may not have $1 in my pocket, but I know I can give my kids some gems, you feel me? That's what we're talking about right here.
Right.
Like, but when they say your validity to be a father is how much you bring in, when we know.
Say that
you
word
can-
again for one time. What you say?
Validity?
Okay.
Vitalities?
No, I wasn't saying it was right or wrong. I just like how you
I don't
used
even
it.
know.
The way you threw it out there. I said that shit sound confident. So go ahead though.
Hey, I'm
I
telling
like
you,
it.
man, I had a 3.8, man. I graduated. I act
I
real
feel you.
stupid.
I'm saying you threw it out. You threw that whole out. I was like, shit.
But just don't make him ever second guess himself.
Because then that's when it gets ugly. Now it's like, velocity? Look, I had to change it. What,
I like it. No, I want to use it later. I'm sorry. Sorry to cut y'all. Go ahead, Kyle.
But, okay, anyway, where was I at? The validity of the situation. So, like, I forgot. But anyway, let's move on to the
I
next
fucked
part.
it up.
dog.
Damn.
Damn.
I just
that
want to use that
validity-
word. I
No,
use that word against my
but
wife
I
tonight.
thought
Like
that
the
was
way you
thinking-
coming with the validity in your voice. Shit.
bored.
My fault.
Yeah, but I had asked you, do you think that the role of the father has been downplayed, and you were talking.
I don't. I think I've seen in our generation, including Richie, everybody I can name at this table. You feel me? We have 3 fathers. I can feel like every father I've seen within this circle is very involved in their kids. Like, and we came from a generation where, like, and don't get me wrong, I can almost say, I would like to say, that's because my mother raised me to be a good father. But my mom didn't tell me too much good about my daddy, you know what I mean? And she never really put a requirement on me to be a father. A lot of why I'm the father I feel like I am is because I didn't have it. Because the lack of not having it made me want to, like, oh, my kids ain't going to go through that piece. So I can say it's probably a negative in the learning. But my mom, she was too busy working, taking care of us, feeding us. She didn't have a lot of time to sit down and have these. She let the church raise us.
See, that go back into the other point you was talking about then. So had your father been there and your mom played the role of like staying home and taking care of the house, would your father have had that time to sit down and talk to you? You see what I'm saying?
And I don't think so, as much as you still have the example. You have the example. A lot of us grew up with no example of that man.
Oh, no, absolutely.
You get older, and it's like we have to figure out how to be a man because we didn't have the. I have an example of a woman.
Right.
I had the example of one, and that's where, don't get me wrong, we'll get the hard working from because we watched this woman work so hard. Right. And then it's like, don't get me wrong, we get into these relationships, and it's like, well, why doesn't this man activate like this or do what a man? Like, bro, I was raised by a female, in instance. I was raised by a female. I might have female requirements. Like, you feel me? If she didn't teach me anything different, she took care of me, she fed me, she did everything. You get it? That's why I think at this point I make a great house dad. I love my role. I just need them to be able to support me.
Hey, we need a reality show. Like, I'll stop working. We do a reality show called House Dads, man. I'm down. If y'all down, let's do House Dads.
I'm serious.
House Dads, bro. Quit your job, Dave. We do House Dads.
As long as a guy does everything that a woman used to do, I'm cool with making the money. Because then I'll come home. The food's gonna be on the table. The house is gonna be clean.
Okay. Now you're a woman. You feel like because you making the money, when those requirements aren't met, are you gonna throw that in his face? Like, I make all the money. Would the roles change in that aspect too?
Here's the thing: men have been doing that with their
wives.
wives.
I don't think so.
Do you think men are right for doing that?
No. I don't think it's right, but I'm saying, if you're gonna do a complete role reversal, it should be completely 180. Like, if I'm gonna come and be the financial provider, you need to take care of everything else.
Okay, but at the end of the day,
can I ask you this? How many times has your daddy told your mama to get the fuck out the house and leave?
Oh, my dad does not talk to her that way.
This is what I'm saying. This is my point. This is the example. From your example from home, this doesn't happen. How many times have you in movies, and believe me, I have 2 baby mothers. I've been through this several times. I've been kicked out of better places than this. Look, I'm telling you, I've had people just straight up, like, 2 months into I put the down payment on the spot, everything. As soon as I'm like, hey, get the fuck out this place. Your damn man. Women are going to pull that kicking a dude out to the street. That's what we say. When you get a position of power, women are going to kick a dude out to the street way quicker than I think a dude going to be like, hey, bitch, get all your shit and go out to the cold. You feel me? That's a real pimp. And we got,
you
those
know what?
are rare
That's
too.
true. But I think that also deals with
just
relationships. Like, if you're not
married,
married, I feel as though you don't have that tie. So it's like, if I'm just dating you and I'm taking care of you financially, like, what do you do for me?
But this is the difference. That's a woman. I'm saying men would still be like, oh, you're not doing that for me. Bitch, pack your stuff. That's not how a man's going to get down. A woman will be like, oh, you're on my nerves. Time for you to
go.
But
here it goes. That brings us to our next topic then, because is that because women have the power, which is the PUSSY. You see what I'm saying? Men probably keep women around because they like, well, look, baby, late night, whatever, I'm working, you ain't really doing shit, but you can give me some sex.
There are so many thotties out there. Like, you don't have to just sleep with the one that you have at home.
Yeah, you don't, but it's good to have some there all the time whenever you need it. That's how some of them look at it, let's be honest. And women feel like women in their mind, like, no dick is good enough for them to be like, I'm about to sit here, take your shit, work as hard as I am working for you, and then you just sit up in the house and play PlayStation.
No, I get taken care of. That's what I'm saying. I am him. I'm him.
So some women feel like, and it goes back to that gender role thing. Some women be like, you a man, like you shouldn't be sitting at home all day. And some women may feel that way. You see what I'm saying?
That's not fair, because if I'm clean and giving up good sex, keeping the house.
If you're doing all that, then she shouldn't kick you out, Kyle.
I would marry you if that was the case. If that was the case, and
you
it
doing
was
all
within
that,
the boundaries, I'd be like,
you A1 since day one.
Y'all already know. You feel this means, dog. This I do this shit. I feel like dick has been disvalued. Kendrick bringing that back. This dick is not free. We
It's
started
never
that
been.
shit
It's never had high value.
Hey, we putting a lot of